Hello friends, and welcome to the fourth and final episode of the World War I series here at the Mad Historian. Today, we're going to be talking about the end of World War I and the collapse of the Central Powers. The war is almost over. The Allies might have just lost one of their most powerful allies, Russia, but there's no need to panic since the US is now in the war, using its fantastic economy to mass-produce war supplies like guns, ammunition, and new tank inventions. The USA begins to ship its men overseas to the bloodbath in Europe. Germany is freaking out and has no real idea of what to do. So the Germans need to come up with another strategy. Alright guys, what do? The Americans will destroy our armies. Well, maybe we could surrender and prevent future casualties that will give us workers when the war is over. No, you idiot, that's a horrible idea. Well, maybe we could randomly attack the Allies by throwing our men at the enemy in random attacks that will kill thousands of soldiers. Genius. So, the Germans would climb out of the trenches into the mud-infested no man's land, braving thousands of bullets just to capture a couple of miles of territory. This strategy of throwing soldiers at the enemy cost both sides thousands of soldiers. But as time goes on, the Germans start to lose supplies while the Allies get better at repelling their attacks. And with US support, the Allies start receiving massive reinforcements on the Western Front. And so, with US support, the Allies start pushing the Germans back across the French border. But this entire time, you might have been wondering what the other Central Powers had been doing. Well, they were getting kind of beaten up. As Germany was making great military progress on the Western Front, Austria-Hungary was a different story. See, the Austro-Hungarians were known in World War I for having very poor military strategies and were losing major battles to even small nations like Serbia. And as new allies came to the war, such as Italy on the side of the Allied powers, Austria-Hungary started having a very difficult time. The Austro-Hungarian generals didn't listen to the experienced German generals, and as a result, they would lose major battles to Serbia and Russia, and then run back to the Germans for help. And for this reason, they became a liability for the Central Powers. The Ottoman Empire was one of the most powerful members of the Central Powers, having the strategic location of being in the oil fields in the Middle East and boasting a large army despite being weakened by the recent Balkan Wars. The Ottomans were a major threat to the Allies, especially the UK. Since the Ottomans possessed a large quantity of oil, the British considered it to be a very powerful nation. Now, after the Ottomans attacked the Russian naval base, the Russians launched the Bergman Offensive, pushing the Ottomans into their own territory. The area where Russia was attacking the Ottomans was Armenia, located here. And the Ottomans were blaming the native Armenians for all of their losses in the area. This led to a tragic loss of life for the natives, known as the Armenian Genocide. That's right, the British have just landed troops on Ottoman soil. In the infamous Gallipoli campaign, the British start a massive landing program on the shores of Gallipoli. Attracted to the oil, the British start massively launching attacks in West Turkey, Mecca, and Gaza. But even though the British generals like Lawrence of Arabia succeed in destroying Ottoman supply lines and wreaking havoc on the Ottoman army, the Ottomans are more successful in the Middle Eastern theater, inflicting heavy casualties on British soldiers. But as the war dragged on, the Central Powers started to lose ground. Facing political and internal crisis, Bulgaria surrendered on the 29th of September. The Ottoman Empire followed by surrendering on October 30th, 1918, and Austria-Hungary surrendered on the 3rd of November, 1918. And finally, after several years at war, Germany surrendered on November 11th, 1918 at 11 o'clock. Therefore ending World War I. The Germans were forced into the Treaty of Versailles, which ended the war, and the terms the Allies placed were absolutely brutal. Germany could not have a military of more than 100,000 men. Their territory was massively reduced, and the Germans could no longer have an air force. Germany also had to pay back massive debt, which left the country bankrupt in the future. Across Europe, the Allies celebrated, but let's take a moment to remember the 22 million that gave their lives. Thank you everyone for watching today's video, and make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode in The Mad Historian.